You know, I should really probably start playing some music before I go live. And yes, I still have my cold. Doing great though, right? InShalla and Ashe, welcome to the Daily Snippet. Holistic Sha'medium and Subtle Energy Surgeon here, Tonya D. And welcome to not only Saturday, October 23rd, but more importantly, welcome to the season of Scorpio. And to set the season off to an otherworldly start, of course, the animal of the day is going to be a scorpion. The angelic being of the season is Jeremiah, the mercy of God. But with Scorpio season, it might be the most transformative, otherworldly, maybe a little even provocative, tantalizing to the soul, if you will, of our very existence, our prime directive. Now, we all have Scorpio season somewhere in our chart. And we also all have an eighth house, and we also all have Pluto. And also, we all have the ability to tap into what I call the shaman's portal as well. So if you're curious about that, tap yourself into Secrets of the Other World or Change Your Stars. My eye is literally popping out this morning. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Literally, it's doing a thing. But myself, I'm always awake at the witching hour. This time, I put a hot cloth over it, if you will. So this being the shaman's portal, but more importantly, it's the sphere that is unseen, and we can utilize it to protect ourselves from a variety of things. It's like this magic bubble. So this year has been quite the ride, right? So you might have felt like you were floating in space for part of it, or watching and wondering for another part of it. The galactic universe and all her mightiness has thrown down the carpet, granted you her wish, or your wish, and set the stage to strengthen and utilize that fairy godmother courage. And remember to utilize the God channel to kind of officiate the line, if you will. But today in the elemental realm, we have a young wood dragon day. So this is a green dragon or a wood or a nature dragon, Jia Chen. So this dragon is one that is in nature, hides in caves, might come in the moss, transforms and shapeshifts the spirit of change. Sounds about right for the energy of the day. But again, we almost have what is known as the four graves. Gotta love that. Just missing the sheep. So there's lots of this earth energy, and earth can smother a tree. You know, the roots could be very dry. But our dragon, the dragon herself, has some water and storage. And the dog there right next to her, she can open that up, like open the storage, the container, if you will. So we have some hidden energy in the year as well, hidden water. But I would still bring in the energy of nature, plants, foraging too, if you can. Create a totem out of nature. Go to the water. Scry as well, if that's your thing. Lots of rain in my village today. But the energy is in between the energies. So today really is a powerful, magical day, and we can utilize it to connect into absolute power, the absolute field in consciousness, or separate ourselves from source energy. Two opposing forces. It's the duality, the God channel. So it's the energy that separates us from harm and also creates the ability to create the certainty, the discernment, there's the word, between the two. So do you open up or do you close the door to those around you? So when we abandon our heart, herself, we have misplaced a net, our safety net. If somebody feels less than warm and fuzzy to us, they have a net around their emotional field. If you're in the river of denial, you kind of have a net around your wisdom and your ideas, your mental acumen. So you might find yourself opening the door or closing the door on yourself for the first echo of the season. So this energy echoes out into the forefront until next year when the season reemerges with a whole new distinctive flavor. New ingredients are happening, right? Nothing's at a standstill. And anything that's a bit ludicrous, if you will, in your sphere of protection, it's going to be reveling and revealing those issues that you have with yourself. So are you unsafe in your container? Do you maybe lack some boundaries? I think we all do, actually. There's this energetic blind spot that we all have that we come in with. from the other world. So anything in those areas, issues personal to you, they might come into play today, merging through those thread lines from deep twisted aspects. So it's a day to take the exam on your personal influencers, yourself, hopefully, and your boundaries. I talked about boundaries with Tavia on Walk the Talk. If you can, check out that podcast. So it's this invisible space in the in-between. Are you safe or are you exposed? And this Monday, I'm actually going to be in a private group actually talking about the other world. I'm quite excited about that. But, when you ask yourself, are you safe or are you exposed? We have another 30 days of this season where we can take a step back, take a breath, take a pause, take a time, give it space, and upcycle areas of our lives that actually need this. It could be our health, with the experience we've been in, our immune system, myself included. I have a cold. I don't go out because, the narrative is it really a cold? Because nothing exists except the experience. It's just a tragedy. But, you might need a boundary around your energetic immune system, or even around your work, your career, fitness, our day-to-day routines, our living style. So it's all those in-between invisible transformations and change of how we live in the very moment. The expansion and the growth, the nature of wood, expanding our day-to-day while still examining our thoughts and our feelings, even our love status, our love corridor. So, do you give yourself personal space and time when the alert signal is calling you, the wake-up call? What do you do yourself to protect your heart protector? There's an energy there, or your health of your body. Like, what are you doing? What's the conversation? What's your self-talk? What's your attitude? So these are all upcycling and changing for the long haul. And it really is time to recalibrate them. So it's this inner awareness of what one is being on the inside, and the ideas or the messages that are kind of emanating outside of us. And those are the messages that people actually pick up on in our frequency, in our auric field. They're emanating from us and they become the witness. They're bearing the witness to the frequency. Animals do this too, insects, it's all of it. But when we utilize this magical sphere to upcycle our self-talk, that inner dialogue, it can literally, bing, flip the switch, shift the loop. So if your self-talk isn't giving you a pep talk, it's giving you a heart attack, it's time to upcycle the narrative and set some soul boundaries. Be constructive and, more importantly, be positive, right? So just go to your own personal observation station and see where you do or you do not have protection or an otherworldly boundaries. Creating a container, that sphere, and see where you might need some new ones as well. Repressed emotions might come out from the closet or under the rug, things that make us feel less than or even uncomfortable, even negative feelings like fear, shame, blame, all that stuff. So this is really a gateway to the realms, the shamanic portal, the shaman's home. The galactic grid doesn't think, let alone feel the way about us. And, we kind of create our own demise, let alone, why should we feel this way in the first place? It's time to restructure, recalibrate our boundaries, know that we are connected through all the connectors, to be quite honest, and climb into a new wardrobe, climb into your new skin. There's no need to put on the old. It's time to get to the other side of the river, the streams, and smile as the waves are percolating and, all this good juiciness, and just allowing a new set of boundaries, that sphere, to kind of cascade in. Just knowing, in your heart space that you are safe, in your emotional corridor you are safe, in your physical beingness, your home, you are safe. You are grounded, and you are also protected as well. Excuse me. I'm telling you, this has been a long week. Love my fairy godchildren. However, I want to make sure I bring in the right little beast here. Oh, right here. So this is the best image I could find so far of Archangel Jeremiah for the season. Well, the mercy of God. So this is the archangel of emotional issues, which is hilarious. It helps us to overcome and our past, our thoughts, and even actually seek mercy from God, Her Majesty, and assist us to kind of take the plunge, diving deep into our past lives and review anything that we've done wrong. We can even go into our ancestral timelines with Jeremiah and clean up our ancestral lineage once that gateway is open. Learn new lessons. We get the memo. That's what I call it, getting the memo. And also pray for her for forgiveness. And in doing this, we come to the realization that God, universe herself, has higher plans for us. It can also be associated with death, but death can also be the ending of something. So the new can be reborn. Scorpio, Hades, the underworld, the god Hades. I don't always think of these things as tragedies, right? That's all perspective. So it's not like the physical ending of life, but more the physical ending of something that isn't for our highest good. It could be the end of a relationship, and it's the end of something that really isn't serving us. Even a career where there's something better over the horizon, we get comfortable and we get conditioned. So life kind of stays the same. There's no growth in our channel. It's static. So it's a great day to inspire some strong connections, sharpening our mind, and having some kind of like dream recall, if you will, healing our own energy. So the invitation is actually here, especially with the shaman's portal open, our thymus, the area of the body where it connects into and runs through. So you too might be feeling a bit otherworldly and opening to the world beyond or the world right next door. It just depends on how you look at it. You could use silver, you could use black, you could ground through this portal if you wanted to examine your own personal library, the library of your soul. Just make sure you take a breath, take a pause, give things time, give them space. A dream space of information. The moon is in Gemini, so we might be thinking about how we feeling where our thoughts are boundless. You might even feel a bit vulnerable today. It's a day to kind of clean the slate, fresh new start, and just allow and be kind of gentle with yourself. Go to your inner peace, take that pause, take a breath. So you could bring in the sound of hum or the sound of the heart, the yum, or go be a bit shamanic and do an indigenous pagan New Year ritual, because absolutely that is a new beginning there. So light the fire, play the drum, weave the weave, feed the fairies, do your offerings, make it magical and mystical if you feel called. The energy is there, and it's actually this shape-shifting alignment. But the scorpion, I picked the scorpion as the totem animal for the day. Feeling that baby come in. See how good I am? The scorpion. So the scorpion, follow your own convictions, she says. So in this case, the scorpion is asking us to remove and cut out those things in our life that no longer serves us. So the spirit animal insists that we must evaluate our surroundings with a critical eye to releasing all that old baggage. So this letting go will include getting rid of objects that are cluttering up your home, as well as purging the clinging energy of those that are codependent to your energetic field. So the scorpion meaning it's also asking us to focus on minimizing the enabling of others not to move forward. But also it's reminding us to take our own growth and our own steps towards death and that rebirth, that cycle. So we should reestablish our boundaries. Magically enough, that's actually the energy of today. And this whole 30 days is boundaries. So just making clear decisions about what direction your next few months are going to go and how to move forward. But it's also letting us know that you can always find light in the darkness, which I totally agree. So if you positively channel your energy and your passions, you'll soon be able to sense which direction is appropriate for you. Similar to the angelfish, the scorpion meaning is reminding us that transformation is inevitable and that it's up to us whether or not it's chaotic or it's calm, you know. Some people prefer chaos and drama for transformation. They thrive on it and they actually create it, right? I've witnessed that several times. But if you have the scorpion as a pet, even an animal or a totem, you're influential and you can inspire others. You're also passionate in your love affairs. You're also known as good lovers. So if you have the spirit animal totem, you have these compelling sexual needs and these desires, and you often enjoy periods of solitariness between your intense and your passionate relationships. But you also have the gift of psychometry. So you tend to use their sense of touch in most things and enjoy texture in your foods. But similar also to the tiger, if you have the scorpion totem, you're protective of your solitude when you need it. You also can be very defensive of your children. They protect their children, similar to a tiger and the pride, from situations where they need to face the consequences to learn and also to grow. So these folks are really unafraid of allowing themselves to be vulnerable with others, but they have a way with words that can often be stinging in their remarks. And overall, you know, they have this overall charisma that will carry them through any and all conflicts. So if you dream of a scorpion, that's symbolizing that death and that rebirth. So the vision is letting you know that you need to get rid of the old and actually make room for something new. It could also represent a person who was born under the astrological sign of Scorpion, or even, you know, in my mind, I was going with the Scorpio moon, but I'm a reflector. I follow the moon. My moon's in Scorpio. So that's my emotional field resonates with a lot of this. But also, if you dream of a Scorpio, that could represent a situation that might be painful or hurting in your waking day-to-day life. It might be that you are harboring negative feelings, kind of stinging remarks, bitter words, negative thoughts that have been expressed by or kind of aimed against you. So, you know, you might be on a self-destructive or self-defeating path. And when you see these scorpions floating in water, that suggests that you need to let go of some pain and learn to accept a situation. So you might be going through a 3-step process of denial, acceptance, and actually finally moving on. So super fun. So now for the cards of the day, I'm going to do something a little different. Let's see, where am I? There I am. So I'm going to do a little different here. I'm going to actually pull 4 cards. So it's this hidden treasures in the medicine wheel. So when you need to dream your world newly into being, we have to discover these hidden resources that are kind of our inner world treasures that we bury deeply inside us. So when we have already harvested our gems, you know, our crystals and the precious stones from the surface, the energy of mineral and metal, we're ready to kind of explore the depths with all of its beauty and also, you know, the creativity and the chaos. So to that end, this is going to be kind of a review of all of our hidden influences to our situations and kind of show us things that we might not even be aware of. So this is the card of the South, and the South represents that which we need to actually let go of, what needs to be shed, like an old snake skin. I have a symbol in my divination of a snake, but it's an old wound that we no longer need to define ourselves by. So I pulled the moon. And so in her essence, the goddess is the moon. She manifests this steady progression from darkness to light and then back again every 28 days. We just had this magical hunter's moon, my musing moon meditation, but she's this magical being in our skies, this mystical power, this priestess really that has literally a powerful impact on our psyches. So she's offering us certainty that after periods of emptiness in the darkness, that there's light waiting to be literally reborn into a new phase. So this calls to mind kind of an African prayer to the moon, May our life be renewed as yours is. You know, follow the moon. Reflectors follow the moon. I do myself. It's a thing. But the moon also has the stronger influence on even the flow of the waters of Earth, right? Over the flow of that. So the same power in turn really affects our human feelings, the moon, emotions, moon, and mirrors their rising from hiding back into the unconscious, the Merlin effect, and the etheric mirror, hence the human design reflector. So the moon herself, you know, she spends equal time in the dark as she does in the light of the sun. And now it comes to kind of remind us of this balance. You know, have you been too focused on your outer achievements, your productivity, social engagement, spending too much time on social media? Have you spent too much time hidden from the outer world, kind of like the scorpion? It hides under the sands, not wanting to interact or show your face. So kind of meditate on the significance of the cycles of the moon and let it gently kind of guide you out of those bottomless ocean depths. So I kind of see it as the deepest part of the ocean and the galactic frontier. So the moon, the emotions, right? So kind of head back to the world of outer expression and connection with others and let her assist you to make time for yourself, your feelings, and more importantly, you know, your essential needs and being a human and spiritual needs as well. It's kind of the balance between the two. So the next card I pulled, oh, goodness sakes, what am I doing? Here we go. Was the blade. And this is a representation of the West. So it represents this aspect of us or a part of us that actually needs to die. It's an old story that needs to be let go so that we can kind of find a meaningful story, a new chapter, a new aspect of our life. So for the West, the blade, I pulled the blade as you can see. So the blade represents sharpness of our mind, our body, and spirit. It's pointing upward. So it's actually summoning and calling in the powers of heaven, the power of heaven itself. When it's aimed down to the ground, that's anchoring the power of heaven on earth. So the blade can be a healing tool, but it can also be a weapon. So you kind of want to wield it wisely. It can also transmit power. You can utilize it for initiations. It can cut energetic cords from the past, sever those toxic relationships. But if you use it with anger, it's going to slash, stab, or, you know, kill. It's not healthy. So here we're being invited to draw our blade and also to use it. It's not it's not auspicious to hesitate, to waste time in idle conversations, or to hide from the inevitable. So it's like heaven and earth are really aligned to support us in claiming our own power. So it's time to take action, be decisive, overcome your fear, especially fear of hurting others. Sometimes we hurt ourselves in the fear of hurting someone else. So it's kind of like unsheath this blade and use it wisely. And that totally makes sense for that energy of this card. And then I pulled the next card. We have Thunder. Thunder for the North. And the North represents wisdom, the wisdom of the ancients, wisdom that we need to acquire. So we've learned kind of lessons from the South and also the West. So what wisdom is, it's ready to kind of mature us within our own beingness at the current moment, the current thread line. So it's like, what's the greatest medicine that you're ready to embrace and cradle? What are the deeply buried treasures within that need to become available to us at the current moment? So in pulling Thunder, in essence, Thunder herself, or Thunder beings, they live in the sky. They wake us up. They call our attention, They're this greater occurrence out into the world. They make things almost legendary in their beingness. And they also warn us when tensions in a situation, they're called upon us to be really released, the thunder. So their presence is reminding us of this dramatic moment in our life that's changing everything, the experience, right? It's changing everything. So it's both awesome, but it's also frightening at the same time. When thunder arrives, because it is really giving us a wake-up call, one that we're never going to forget. So when thunder comes, it's kind of referring to a big dramatic change that feels like a herd of wild bison on the run. If you've ever heard a herd of animals running, the thunder is amazing. You really feel it through your bones, through your ancestors, through the stones, the memory, and you know that you are powerless to this influence. Whatever's been set in motion, you have no power over it. So this is a time to be prepared for anything and also everything. Your life is an absolute adventure, and also, wonderful opportunities are arriving at the thread lines of the horizon, the dawn and the dusk, the moments in between. But the trick is actually to learn to run with them, run with the herd. Qualities that you need to know or utilize more are to be flexible, to have dexterity, and really a willingness to experience it all without the fear, jump in. Or, what form of opportunity, that are going to come and arrive, just thrive in this adventure, because the destiny is really at that horizon, and it's thriving and it's arriving at the same time. So absolutely be ready. That's kind of the message of this card as we go around. So this is awesome. So I also pulled for the last card, the sun. So you can't make this stuff up, right? So here we are in the season of Scorpio. I pulled the moon, which I have a Scorpio moon, the moon herself, the goddess. But this is our possible destiny, the way that we can really share our treasures, our gifts to the world, and also, our gifts to others. But with the sun, again, it's just magical that I went from the moon all the way to the blade, to the thunder, to the sun, to the very sun. So, it's just saying to acknowledge in a variety of cultures, the sun herself, a lot of people see the sun as masculine, a masculine force. But also she's seen as this feminine in her full power, in her full essence. And either way, it's the most brilliant light for all beings. We all have a star inside of us. And it allows life to kind of spout her essence from the dark, the feminine earth, Gaia herself. So it can be gentle, and it also can be warming. It's close to the sunrise and also the sunset, the fall or the winter, but it can also be destructive. My summer was pretty scorching hot. That's the peak of the sun's energy, the fire energy, when you look at nature and the seasons. But the curious question is, have you been shining your light for way too long? We have to remember between the sun and the moon, that daylight is only half of the day, and the night must have her equal time as well. And she's offering us our gifts. So we need to be careful not to be blinded by the light or the light of others. Don't become enamored with ourselves or even worshiping others, and also being aware of our own shadow at the same time, and kind of revel in the midday, in the lunchtime glory, the afternoon. But also don't be afraid of the waning, because I think the sun herself wans just like the moon does, between the light at dusk. So be in conversation with your heart today and separate your energy from the outer world, and knowing the difference between the two, the dualities. Make the sphere, the energetic sphere, through your God spot, the channel of source energy. And I would totally affirm I am in a sphere of love, protected by the goddess herself and the divine, forever comforted with love. So you are in the juice. I talk about all these spheres in the Buttercup meditation, if that's new for you. And also I want to give a shout out to Miss Heidi St. Rogers. Today is her Earth Day, journeying around the sun. So with all of that, make it a magical, blessed day. InShalla, Ashe, and I will see you as always on the other side. Sniffle.